Ooga, ooga, ah, hooked on a feeling. Okay. In theory, we're rocking and rolling here. I'm just setting up, getting ready to start talking about the city sales tax. Hopefully, somebody jumps on here in a moment just to confirm that I do indeed have audio running to the video stream. Um, I've got a new little setup here going, and it was working for me prior to this, so hopefully it is taking it from the right place. Because, boy, I'll tell you, I don't know how to tell what Facebook's recording and what it isn't. Okay. Okay, in theory, I think it's getting everything. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the sales tax election that is coming up. For those of you who aren't aware, hopefully enough of you have been following the page for a while now or seen other folks talking about the fact that on July 11th, which is, about 9 days from now, we are having an election in town dealing with a sales tax referendum. Um, and I think it's important to make sure people understand why. I want to make sure that everybody understands where the money is going and what the plans for it are. And also just talk briefly about why it's not a tax increase necessarily. I've said in other posts and elsewhere on the page and to folks individually that I am a big proponent of finding ways to decrease things like property and sales tax in the city limits. And I think this is a very good talking point for that needs a little bit of time. So I'm going to take about 10 minutes here, maybe a hair longer, to talk about this as folks maybe jump on the live stream or anything. I'll answer any questions that folks have, and I'll repeat that throughout the stream here. So first, what's going on? Let's talk about that to get started. The first thing you need to know is July 11th, Tuesday after the next one, we will be having this election. This election is to increase, or not increase, but rather to reserve back a quarter-cent sales tax. As of right now, today, in the city of Pittsburgh, our sales tax rate is 9.5%. Of that 9.5%, 6.5% goes to the state, 1.5% goes to the county. Let me check that number. I have numbers in front of me. Yes, 1.5%. No, I'm sorry. 1 goes to the county, and 2 goes to the city. So I'll repeat that. 6.5% goes to the state, 1 goes to the county, 2 goes to the city. So out of that 9.5%, only 2% of that is money that the city gets to use. Now, part of that 2% is a half-cent sales tax that was used to pay for Fire Station Number 1 and the Law Enforcement Center when we got those facilities built. That sales tax was set to expire in 2018. Thanks to some great work on the city side and some really good bookkeeping, we actually paid off those loans that built those facilities a year early. So instead, what's going to be happening is the sales tax will be expiring in September. So that means our sales tax rate would go from 9% to 9.5%. Now, what is being proposed is that instead of letting that whole half-cent tax expire, we keep a quarter of it. We let a quarter expire and keep a quarter, and then take that money to pay for road maintenance in town. Now, this is important. This is a topic that I think bears a couple minutes because out of everybody I've talked to, in person, through messages on here, whatever the case may be, road maintenance in Pittsburgh has been the number one consideration people have. They know that we have a lot of troubles in town, whether it be the historic brick roads on the west side of town, whether it's Quincy heading out to the bypass, parts of Broadway, take your pick. We know that roads in town are a problem, and our current budget, because right now basically all of the funding for road maintenance comes from sales tax. Our current budget is a little bit under $900,000 for road maintenance. Now, if you know anything about building and maintaining roads, that's not a lot of money. To give you an idea, if you put down all of the road miles in town that need work, $900,000 covers about 8% of that need. So that leaves 92% of the roads in town still requiring maintenance. And if assuming, nothing ever changed, roads didn't fall apart, potholes didn't open up, whatever the case may be, that means it would take 12 years for us to cover all of that road maintenance. Obviously, that's not how things work. Roads fall apart, potholes open, cracks happen, other types of maintenance take place. Intersections need to be expanded. Take your pick on any of this. So, this is why that is a problem. There are 6 projects planned for 2017 right now to address. I don't know the linear mileage on the roads off the top of my head, but it's not much. To give you an idea, there is a map. It's available on the city site. There is a picture of this map in the photos section of my page. So if you want to see this in detail that you can actually read, go check out the photos and you'll see those pictures. But all the red roads are all the roads that will be worked on in 2017 right now. If the sales tax passes, here's what happens. We go down 0.25%. So the sales tax in Pittsburgh would go from 9.5% to 9.25%, a net reduction in the sales tax in town. The secondary effect that has is it will effectively double the amount of money we have available to deal with road maintenance in town. Across the board, so that's funding, that's projects, everything. So if you look at the map and there is also a handy project outline that is available. I realize my video looks like it may be backwards in the screen and you probably can't read it anyway, but this is a breakdown of the projects and their costs that are projected for 2018. What will happen is we will go from just under $900,000 to just under $2 million in order to work on roads in town. That's huge. That takes that 12-year estimate I gave and cuts it to 6. Again, assuming nothing else happened, but that's the effective impact that it has, is it doubles the amount of work we can do in town. It doubles the number of projects from 6 to 12. It basically doubles the amount of linear mileage that we're able to deal with. And so we can get to all of these roads much more quickly and much more effectively so that roads that need maintenance are not left and aren't allowed to fall apart and degrade much more quickly. And that's really the question, right, is this catch-up game that we're constantly playing. And so this lets us work more and work faster, which is, I think, important to keeping that debt, basically, that infrastructure debt from building up on us. Now, let's see. Where do we go from here? I've got paperwork in front of me, and I think we need to look at this. So, oh, yes, okay. Now, here's the other part of this, right? I said it would raise, it'll raise about $1.1 million, $1 million, somewhere in there is the estimate. Part of that, $50,000, is also going to get set aside for a fund to help people maintain sidewalks in town. A lot of folks don't know that it is not the city's responsibility to maintain sidewalks, it is the homeowners. As a result, many of the sidewalks in town fall into a state of disrepair because people don't want to put out that money to help repair those sidewalks. With this, we get $50,000 set aside that anybody can go apply for, and it will be matching funds. So it will cut the cost of working on sidewalks in town by half to the homeowner. And then the homeowner can pay that back. I believe it's over 10 years. It's basically a home improvement type of loan. So not only do we end up getting the doubling of road maintenance, we now have a fund set up to help people maintain sidewalks in town. That's one of the other most requested things that I've heard is that, I can't go walking where I want to walk because the sidewalks are dangerous. We've all seen some of those brick sidewalks where, the trees have grown and taken over sidewalks and the root systems have knocked things out. There are areas with no sidewalks. There's a lot that this money can go towards. And if people don't take advantage of it and there is money left in that fund at the end of the year, it goes towards road maintenance. It doesn't go, to buy a new truck for the city. It doesn't go to, take care of IT fees or anything like that. It all goes back to that road maintenance fund. So that half-cent sales tax is really important to maintaining that process. And here's why we need it. we used to be able to do somewhere in the area of $1.3 to $2 million worth of work over the course of a year. And the reason we don't have that now is because we used to get a lot of matching funds from KDOT. We don't get that anymore. I'm sorry, my cat hears me talking and wants to come see what's going on. We don't get those matching funds from KDOT anymore. And what little bit of money that I understand that we do get is very quickly going away in general. So we don't have that buying power that we used to have. It used to be that $1 million worth of road work actually went further than that for us. Because that money is no longer available, it is on us to help maintain that support system for our transportation. So let's see. There is an FAQ page up on the city's website for this. I have it in front of me. I'm kind of scanning it here as I'm talking to make sure I'm hitting all the high points. So the overview on this, I'm just flip. Yeah, so the overview on all of this comes down to this. Vote yes on July 11th, and this is what you get. We double the amount of road work that we can do in town. We are able to help residents repair and maintain sidewalks in town. Our sales tax will go down to 9.25% from 9.5%, and everybody wins, effectively. If you vote no, as my cat tries to take over my microphone, if you choose to vote no, sales tax still goes down. It goes down a little bit more to 9%, but we get none of the advantage. We get nothing back on that 0.25%. We get no extra road maintenance. We're limited to the 6 projects that are budgeted for 2017. There's no money for sidewalks, which means they only will get worse. If you've driven through town, you've noticed residents don't work on their sidewalks right now, so there will be no money available for any of that. And so what you effectively get is a slightly lower sales tax rate, but absolutely nothing else out of that. So voting yes is kind of a, we get 2 good things out of it. Sales tax goes down, but we also have funds set aside to do a lot more work on what is arguably the biggest problem in town that people complain about. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your coworkers, and see how often road maintenance comes up as a problem that they see with the infrastructure of Pittsburgh. It is on everybody's mind. Every time I live near Cleveland Street, every time I drive over Cleveland, I'm reminded about the roads that are getting left behind. And the idea that we can get to these problems twice as fast in the coming years would be a huge advantage for us. So I encourage you, look back through my page. Go check out the FAQ site on the city site. If you can't find it, there is a link down below in my posts. Please, by all means, hello, Isis. That is my cat jumping up on my shoulders and chair. And now I've lost my train of thought. The link is down below, the page on the city site. Feel free to message me or ask any questions, or go to the next city commission meeting. It's not this week, it's next week, so I guess you won't have a chance to do that. Ask anybody, ask people you know, go review that information, and understand that you aren't voting for a tax increase either way. Sales tax will go down under both scenarios, and getting that work done, I think, is extremely important, just not only for now, but for the future of Pittsburgh as well. If you have any other questions, leave a comment on the video, of course. Send me a message on here, post anything. I'll be happy to answer things as I understand it. If I don't know, I will certainly go and try to find somebody who can answer whatever questions you may have. I do urge folks, I think this is important. I think it is something that we should vote yes on. And so I urge folks to make sure they understand this issue and get out and vote. Even if you don't support it, it's very important to get out and vote on this, because this is the power you have for Pittsburgh. If this is something the city doesn't want, then we all need to know that, and we need to figure out then what the solution is otherwise. So take that to heart. If you need me, I'll be here. And as the days and weeks pass, I will try to do more of these on any issues in town that people are interested in. And we will go from there. With that, I've hit about 15 minutes. I think that is more than long enough to have covered this. And I will see you all next time.